And we're live. Welcome back to the Wildlands campaign. So, quick disclaimer. Unfortunately, my kid got the sick a couple of weeks ago, and we're all having to suffer through it because a certain amount of exposure pretty much guarantees that it's going to break through the vaccine. So that's what we're dealing with. But we wanted to slip in a game here and manage to get some fun in because we just can't stay away from the Wildlands for too long. But so here we are. We're alive. There might be some issues to deal with in terms of not being fully energetic here, but that's the disclaimer. All right, so guys, welcome back to the Wildlands campaign. You have been through a lot to get to this point. And you have come through many adventures and many dangers. Last time, we finished up the fight with Jikas, the multi-phase fight with a powerful legendary figure from Vapos's past, his evil master who served the Netheros and who seemed to be seeking power above all else, calling Vapos a traitor for turning against not only the Netheros but his own progression of power, and for not completing the task that was laid upon him. There was a lot of crazy magic, dramatic one-liners, and it was almost a TPK. I think everyone got to either knocked out or to single digits at a certain point, except for Bref, the barbarian. So, well done last time, guys, as you pulled it off. Just barely winning the day against a very powerful foe. So kudos. He had a dramatic dying speech. That he told of the Netheros will make a realm where the gods do not rule us, where power and those who seek it are rewarded, not punished. How can it be wrong to want that? But he had failed to end your life, Vapos, and end all your lives to break the cycle that he calls a curse. And as Jikas, fell, the curse that he and Vapos's other master was under ended. And from within the shrine, I don't know if you guys can hear the shouting child in the background. But she does not want to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit.
From within the shrine in the stone hand emerges a half-elf dressed in black robes, smiling. And he holds up his hands and says, "Good evening, sirs and madams. Truly, I am in your debt. It is good to see you again, my student." And he smiles particularly at Vapos. So, that's where we're going to be picking up. You guys are at the end of your rope. HP and other resources expended. And it's late at night, so exhaustion is setting in after your journey and subsequent terrific battle. Qui Fitzywell is standing before you. And after thanking you, he will say, if you would like to rest, my friends, perhaps now is a good time. We have much to discuss. But perhaps you would prefer to rest until the morning.
I think resting is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Is it safe now?
He looks at you and says, go and test the water, sailor.
I'm already in the water still.
Well, I assume we are a little bit past the battle wrap-up at this point. You have picked up the items from Jakas, Master of Flow, that were written into the chat last time. You've picked yourselves up, dusted yourselves off, or started to dry off at this point. We're not picking up like the second that Jakas falls. I was assuming you guys would kind of, start binding your wounds and so forth. So you touch the water, and at his polite suggestion, Bref, you realize that these waters have been cleansed. Whatever dark power was infusing this shrine and these koi, it has shifted to one of peace and perhaps meditation. And
The water feels safe.
he says, indeed, the poison, the cycle of evil has been washed away. He looks at Vapos and he says, just as that evil, and if you don't mind me saying so, was washed away from you, Vapos, perhaps you haven't realized, but you are more important than you think. In you, my tremendously brave student, the evils of the Netheros were washed away. This indicates a strong measure of hope for all of us. You see, I have been spying on Jakos through the connection shared by our shared tutelage of the watery Vapos. Jakos was hoping that you would bring him a piece of the Shadow Dragon's soul, that he might rise and break out of his own master's cycle that way. But Jakos caught on to what I was doing. And in our battle, we ended up in this trap. You see, what the Netheros do so well, and then he covers his mouth. I mean those who dwell below.
Yeah, Vapos kind of winces a little bit when he says that.
Yes, what do those who dwell below do so well is hijack the cycles of others, take them over and use them for their own ends. That is what they have been building for centuries with their elemental masteries. But Vapos is proof that those hijacked cycles can be broken out of. And you all proved it here again, as you ended the curse of Jakos upon the world and on this sacred temple.
I thank you for your kind words, Master, though I must admit I'm not sure that what I've done means is quite so significant in the grand scheme of things. I was blind for a long time, but you helped me to see the truth of things. That's all.
Yes, and perhaps it is not seeming such a great thing to you, but to those of us in the League, it is very significant because it is proof of hope. And at this point, that is the strongest thing we have.
That Vapos will just kind of nod. Say, or we'll just say, then I will do my best to continue to carry that torch. And to spread it to others if I can.
Well, that is good to hear. As I said, we have much to discuss, and he looks at all of you and says, I would not necessarily wish to burden you when you have just fought for your very lives. But I will talk whenever it is convenient for you.
Honestly, Master, it is good to see you, and I very much wish to hear more of what you have to say. But I'm not sure that I'm quite in the right frame of mind for that just yet.
Exactly. Well, rest yourselves here. I have a certain measure of knowledge of the magic of this place, and we will not be disturbed. I have slept entirely too much, so I will clear away what remains of the battle. And as you guys kind kind of start unpacking your stuff for rest and rolling your bedrolls, he's going to go around and start clearing away the bodies and just kind of cleaning up the detritus of the battle. However, there's less than you might think, because most of the bodies of people start turning into koi. As the magic that bound the souls there begins to fade. All right, so I'm going to assume that you guys are going to find a place to make camp here. And as you do so, the peace inherent in the koi pond and the ruined temple kind of steals into your minds despite yourselves, as the darker influence fades. The perversion of this temple leaves, and you are able to kind of access the. It's built to be very conducive to meditation, and there's ancient, peaceful magic here. So you'll slip into slumber, unless you guys let me know otherwise.
Nope. Sleepy.
Okay. The noise of the water and the wind blowing through the swampy trees, and even the distant hum of insects lulls you to sleep. And even Shadir, who often tosses and turns, slips into a quiet slumber. And in the dark and the peace, Bella.
Yes.
You start to dream. You are swimming through the koi pond, and there's a dark hole like a drain in it, and it sucks you in with this powerful current. And then you are spit out in a strange yet familiar place. This platform with semi-translucent, colorful flagstones in a vast field of stars. And you are in the center, weeping a little. As you look up, you can see a little farther than ever before. And you start to see these pathways whose shape and physics make no real sense to you, floating here in this field of stars. There's a pathway of wooden planks floating, something that looks like a tree trunk or a tentacle, and you see the head of a giant snail shaped on it. But it's a platform that you could walk on.
Do I think I could get to it?
Yeah, potentially.
Well, I'm going to try and do that.
As you move toward the snail, which is both three-dimensional and two-dimensional, so you could walk on it, it turns its eye stalks towards you. And it says, "Beware. The dream space was once safe, but it is no longer. She will meet you here, though."
Do you mean the muse?
The eyes blink, not simultaneously. And then you're going to wake up the next morning.
Okay.
Vapos,
Yes.
you have a dream that night. Your dream begins with a memory. You dream of practicing in the temple years ago. You can feel the powerful blows of your fellow student striking you much as you were struck today, pummeling away, each blow a lesson to your body for how to react, how to survive, and how to avoid. As you fight your way around the chamber, a voice shouts out instructions. You hear Jakasa's voice, hoarse as though trying to whisper like his master, but not really helping you. Instead, every instruction seems to be one for your opponent, pointing out your weak spots, your flaws, your mistakes, where you're leaving yourself open, not drawing your hands back quick enough into your guard. And the pain, the beating over your entire body is profound and painful. As you circle around, you realize that you have learned a new move, a secret move that would be forbidden in most monasteries. But it is available to you should you decide to draw on its power. Another voice rings out in the dream. It's the voice of your other master. He speaks quietly instead of shouting with that hoarse stage whisper. He speaks politely, and he speaks to you, giving you instructions, helping you to strike defend, move, and fade away better. And he's giving you advice. You begin to lose your connection to this flow that Jakas had endowed you with. But you are gaining something more. The resilience and the power, and more importantly, the knowledge to succeed. And the fight begins to turn in your favor. You start to gather all of these instructions in your head from your master Kui, like little treasures. And as you draw on each one, you realize that you have collected enough knowledge, and enough so that you can, even with your imperfections, you can win. You know what to do. You can be the best Vapos in this.
Like no one ever was.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Is there anything that you'd like to do, Vapos?
Yeah, I'm just going to try to internalize those lessons. And rather than reaching for whatever forbidden power Jakas was trying to convey towards me, I just want to use those fundamentals that Kui taught me and succeed on my own merits through his teachings.
And as you do that, you get stronger and stronger and finally take down your fellow student, your opponent in the dueling courtyard. And it's when you're helping him up, running through these lessons in your mind, that you hear Jakas's voice shouting next. And then a blow strikes you in the back of the knee, and you go down, hitting the ground hard. And that's when you wake up the next morning.
Okay.
It's a real struggle with bedtime tonight. Mavra. You dream. You dream of a battle that you have dreamed of before. These terrible monsters, the bravery of your mother, a golden book falling into a crevasse in the earth to unknown depths of darkness. And you dream of falling into that crevasse with the golden book. And you dream of a passageway. As you fall through the crevasse, Mavra, you can think of where you want to go, where you want to fall. And you start to pass through this tunnel. And as you go farther along it, you hear this dwarven voice that you've heard before saying, Master, I will not fail. Master, they shall all be diseased and die. Mavra, do you want to go towards that voice?
Yes.
Okay. Or do you want to chase the book?
Maybe the book.
Okay. You chase the book, and this golden flashing book seems to open to prayers. Prayers to the dead kings. The ancient ancestor deities of the dwarves. And as your eyes glance over the beautiful words stamped on the page in this, strong, just intricately gorgeous dwarven script, you become dimly aware, Mavra, of this field of stars and a shape lurking out there, blocking out the stars. And it all seems, the shape, the book, you, seems to be converging towards this point where there's a kind of a colorful platform. And as something grabs you from out of the void, you wake up. Akiri,
Yes.
you dreamed that night. In your dream, Akiri, you're flying. Way high up, higher than you've flown in a long time, maybe ever. You can see little specks down below. And in the swirling clouds around you, you recognize the clouds. You realize that horrible, scratchy voice came from them and threatened your people. And Akiri, you have this sense that the clouds themselves are moving with intelligence and purpose. They are drawing open around you and closing up behind you. And it's almost like the clouds are flapping wings. Great miles wide wings. And then they start to drop something, rain, down below. It's all going to wash away, and a fear takes hold of you. You're caught in a wind. What do you want to do, if anything? Do you want to go with the wind, or do you want to fight it?
She wants to see where the wind will take her.
Akiri, the wind pulls you inexorably. It's crazy to think you ever could have fought against it. You are pulled inexorably toward these tremendous statues on the top of a mountain. Forming a kind of a tower, the two of them. You are pulled by the wind, swirling, rushing toward a dark opening at the top of the mountain. You know that many things will meet there. And you hear a cry. Help! A woman's voice. You look up and you can't quite see her face, but there's a hooded Aarakocra, a female peacock Aarakocra, caught in the wind as well. And she's just a little too far out of reach, Akiri. And as you flap your wings, vainly trying to right yourself, as you're tumbled head over heels in this harsh, unremitting wind, a giant hand of cloud, dark cloud, reaches out and clutches the hooded figure of Alarka. And as she vanishes from view, you wake up.
Okay.
Breath. Breath, you are on a storm-tossed sea. You're thrown this way and that, struggling to get your breath. You hear voices of old friends and new. You can't necessarily see them. You feel something below you lifting you up. You try to hang on, but the dolphin leaps from the waves and is threatening to be torn from your grip. Breath. Do you want to try to hang on to see where the dolphin will take you in the storm? Or do you want to head toward the voices and possibly an island in amongst the waves?
I am definitely hanging on as tightly as I can for this dolphin.
Okay. Breath, you are pulled through the storm. The voices fade as you are swum away from them. And as you're thrown this way and that, you're aware of a presence below. And the dolphin dives down towards it. Down there in the dark, Breath, you're aware of lights, stars, a vast field of glowing stars down at the bottom of the sea as you're pulled by the dolphin that you can no longer even see in the dark. And some larger, malevolent presence. You're pulled through the depths, away from the chaos up above, to a strange light and a colorful platform, a still spot in the strange dreamscape under the sea. And just when your grip is giving way on the powerful animal swimming you down, powerful creature you're hanging on to, you wake up. And then it's daytime. There you go.
Well then.
awaken, healed up with your HP. Your spells regained. Your items will gain another charge. And you'll regain 1 hit die of any expended hit dice. You're going to see that Kui Fitzywell is seated over here on the grass, meditating, similar to the pose in the shrine, but enjoying the morning. And by the way, for the first time, you're actually going to hear birdsong in this place. You shake off the last clouds of your dreams that seemed so real. They have a lingering kind of dream aftertaste. And look around, you're here. There's a few signs of your battle, but it's mostly been cleaned up at this point. Good morning, says Kui. You wouldn't happen to have any food, would you? I don't mean to impose.
Of course,
But,
sir. Please, have some of mine.
I've been living off of fish for a while. Oh, thank you so much. He'll come over, and as you guys are cooking breakfast, he will gratefully partake with many pleases and thank yous. How did you sleep?
Well, if I'm being honest, I had some storm-tossed dreams.
Ah. The muse was active for you. Was she not?
I wish she'd be a little more active sometimes.
What do you mean? How do you mean?
Well, I've been waiting for her to get in touch with me in my dreams for some weeks now, and so far it always seems to stop just short of her getting, actually saying anything to me. I'm beginning to get more than a little frustrated by the God's lack of willingness to be involved in, everything that's happening right now.
He nods. I know what you mean. Well, he stands up. Perhaps we should talk now.
Yes, please. I would love to hear more of what you have to say, sir.
Yes, well, as I mentioned, I took it upon myself to use our connection through you, Vapos, to spy on Master Jakas. He crosses his hands behind his back and he starts pacing around the stone hand. Looks as if he's very carefully examining the moss. And he says, "You see, I have come to learn many things about the inner workings of those who dwell below and the many cults they have in thrall to them. He looks at you guys and he says, Bella, you're frustrated. That's only makes sense. Frustrated with the cycle. That only makes sense. How do you trick the gods? Well,
Sorry, what?
the Netheros, those who dwell below. Excuse me, I am so very sorry. Those who dwell below. If the gods knew what they were doing to their beloved Wildlands, they would never allow it to continue. And you must know by now that those who dwell below have found a way to hijack the cycle. And use their dreadful powers to mask their actions. How do you trick the gods? I'll tell you. You make them think they are acting against one another.
Are they really that petty?
Well, he looks at Akiri. Do you know what happened 10,000 years ago?
She gives him a look. How do you know what happened 10,000 years ago?
That has been the result of much research and of the big secret that outed me to Jakas and ended up trapping me here as part of his curse and cycle. You see, it's not only that they are petty, it's that they are jealous. The cycle deities will not allow anyone to join them. They are 12. No more and no less. And when some tried to join their ranks 10,000 years ago, they broke things in order to stop those mortals from ascending. Have you ever heard of the Dark Six?
Of course.
One is dead. The other 5 still work their evil. But they were meant to ascend. Through their connection to the guardian of creativity and beauty and dreams. So, they broke her moon and its cycle and shattered the power of the six, turning them toward shadow. Rather than expand their ranks. And we're still suffering the consequences to this day. That's what has left them open to this manipulation, to this hijacking of their cycle by those who dwell below. So, you can see that what has to happen is we need to break the cycle of those who dwell below. So that they cannot succeed in their plans. And I think that just as this place has been cleansed by the cycle being broken here, so too will the gods' cycle be cleansed when those who dwell below are no longer working their poison. So we have, at least on that side, a chance to change the fate, change the doom of the Wildlands. Are you following me?
I think so.
Yes, I believe so, though I will admit I have seen some of the power that those who dwell below are able to wield. I was able to see when the one who I previously served first ascended, when she stole the heart of blue from a feastie. And it seems difficult to reconcile the idea of battling directly against such power.
Right. You are quite correct, my student. Direct confrontation would only feed into their cycle. And it is probably what they are hoping you will do. So
I guess the question is, what's our indirect way of doing it then?
he looks down and shuffles his feet. That has to do with something of great concern to my order. The great bards. In order to reshape the reality in the Wildlands, those who dwell below need them. Need the great bards in order to fully hijack the broken cycles at work. especially that of the Muse. Unfortunately, I have some grim news, my friends. You see, decades ago, the great bard of poetry, Zendrig, fell into evil and fire and was taken to the void. Many years ago, in a great battle under Deldam, a great monster and an earthquake took Kundrig Chainbraid, the great bard of Psalms. 3 years ago, the drowning of the Grana made Val Irlirith, the great bard of dance, disappear. I'm sorry to say that in Fiexi of this year, a great fire occurred in Turin, and Halfarin, the great bard of history, fell into the void. In Afisti of this year, a terrible rain drowned the magical abilities of Donmar Igiknast Nasid, the great bard of satire, down in the south. That left us with 4 great bards uncaptured. And unusually for Qui Fitzywell, he is kind of holding himself very uncomfortably and awkwardly, like he doesn't know what to do with his hands. And he seems to be looking everywhere but at you guys. Till finally he seems to sort of catch himself. And he looks right at Bella. And his eyes are very sad. He says, at the close of the month of Mand, when great feasting was being prepared in Westhead, the rebellion against Duke Rothdal made its big stroke. The rebellion broke the enchantment that guarded the royal keep and the ducal residence. And as they were blasted open, a great monster broke through the walls. In the chaos, as the city was devoured by the beast, a great wind swept through. It emptied the sewers and toppled the ships. And the leader of the rebellion, King Eldan, the great bard of tragedy, was taken. I am so
Gosh,
sorry.
Dang it, we just rescued the damn thing.
Bella's gonna kind of sit down, just fucking sit down on the ground where she's standing. And she looks sort of lost.
Ella, I'm so sorry.
That leaves us with no more than 3 great bards still uncaptured. My cousin, I fear, is beset by dangers and pinned down. I'm very worried that his secret may be out. I will travel to him with speed. From something Jakas said only a few days ago, they recently became aware of his existence and location. The great bard of astrology, Alarka, they They have planned for some time to take this month under cover of some great disaster. I don't really know anything about it except that a disease is somehow involved. There will be fire and an earthquake. Perhaps the rain will fall and she will be gone.
And she kind of filches from a very dream.
That leaves us the great bard of song. No one knows where he is.
Wait, isn't he the one that we have? Bella,
He looks
who's
at
in your
you
harp again?
in shock. He
No,
looks at you in shock.
out of character, out of character. Bella, who the fuck is in your heart? Is in your harp again?
I believe that it's the great bard of song.
Okay, that's what I thought. Out of character, I was like, wait, hold on. That sounds familiar.
If they need him, he may be the final key, the final chance. He would have to oppose the rest of the great bards. But they say that he fell into a curse long ago and was gone. He would need to be at his full power to prevent the Wildlands from being remade. As I said, no one knows where he is. I was hoping to ask the great bard of astrology, but she has probably not been practicing her astrology and lying low in order to stay hidden. In any case, Chakas whispered one night to a messenger about those who dwell below having found a gateway into the realm of the Muse. And in his curse, the great bard of song lies dreaming, a part of him forever bound to that plane of existence. They have begun tracking him there, which is a realm that the cycle gods cannot access. You see, those who dwell below are engaged in the grandest cycle of any mortal since the Dark Six ascended 10,000 years ago. They have been keeping things so secret, finding ways of acting over centuries, millennia, without the gods even noticing. They're only even awake in a certain pattern every few years, long periods of sleep. Then they emerge and push their plans forward. But I think all of those plans are finally coming to a head. So this is it. It's do or die. And if we reveal what we know, I fear that will only bring destruction on a vast scale. So you see the Wildlands doesn't even know the danger it's in.
Kira's gonna sit down heavily on the ground and rubbing her temples say, do you guys remember back when this all started? And we were just monster hunters.
Seems like a long time ago.
So,
Sorry. Please continue, Master.
I just want to urge you. If you have a way or any hope of stopping them from capturing another great bard, or of rescuing, because you know where they will be, the great bards they have captured already, I urge you to take that chance. Because there won't be any more.
Well, we are aware of some plans that they've set in motion just a little bit further north in just a few days. We were on our way there when we learned of Jakasa's location here.
Shadir speaks up. And he says, I think I need to meet a goblin near here. Sorry, that sounds foolish. But I think there's someone called the Frog Talker that I'm supposed to talk to. And she might know of where to find the great bards.
If she does, then we have to go there. I mean, I know we need to go to the Swordwings meeting first. I know we have to do that, but after that, we have to go to the Frog Talker and ask her what she knows.
I think the Frog Talker is here. We can go to her first.
If that's the case, then that's where I want to go.
Right. Kui nods. He says, you're going to have to fight like hell at that event. Bring all of the skills you have here and more. I think that you're going to have to find a way to change the cycle that they are engaged in. And fight them wherever they are, however they are, whoever they're sending. Because they wouldn't go themselves. Those who dwell below would never expose themselves like that. But
Well,
we're going to have to prevent them from succeeding.
Yes, we can continue to try to buy time to foil their plans in motion, but that's still us reacting to them rather than taking the initiative against them. I may know of a way to attack the source of their power. I can't say for certain, but Master, are you familiar with the Eternal Division?
Of course.
Jakas spoke to me of it before I left the temple. And I believe he was trying to warn me of an attack by one of the Dark Six that was going to be coming to it. But he wanted me to defend it, to protect it, because, as he put it, it's the source of their power and also their greatest vulnerability.
Ah. Have you any way of reaching the division of the four elements at planar crossroads?
I believe that I can, if I can learn more about these, and I'll produce the two daggers, the one that I was carrying and the one that I found on Jakas.
They feel different, though they look nearly identical when you hold them up. The one that you've been using is cold, even though they've been basically in the same place on your person. One is, feels like bone. The other feels cold, almost more like ice. That's the one that you had.
Okay.
And Quee's eyes go wide and he says, "Yes. Yes. That's it. If you stand in the right spot, if you are in the right place, that can cut open a passageway. Be careful, though. The tooth of a shadow dragon is not to be used lightly."
Yes, I will admit I did not fully understand its significance at first, and I have used one of them a couple of times when we were plagued by particularly troublesome demons.
I see. I know. I see. I see what it is you must do. His eyes go wide. There is a great work of art that the League has often referenced in our records, created by the greatest Aarakocra, Dacio himself. It's called I don't quite remember what it's called. It's a fiery feather, crafted of twisted fibers. Ah yes, the Candescent Plume. That's it. It's kept by Dacio. You can use that to travel into the heart of your enemy's sanctum. And from there, you'll be able to cut open a tunnel. a way to reach the division. That is what you must do. Then you will break the source of their power or cut them off from it. And the ability of those who dwell below to enact their will be tremendously reduced. It will not be easy. We're talking about fighting battles against terrible forces and unimaginable dangers. You may, at any one of these points, fight the direct lieutenants or even a member of those who dwell below themselves. If that happens, my advice to you is try to evade them and accomplish your mission. This is about more than all our lives, precious as those are. It's about the Wildlands itself, continuing the positive cycle and the ability for new things to happen in these lands. He reaches out and clasps your hands and he says, at least we have something of a plan.
Capos just nods and will say, I will do my best not to let you down, Master.
He nods and he says, nor I any of you. Well, could I get a little more of those dried fruits? I'm really sick of fish.
Of course, yes.
Thanks. And he'll sit down and try to continue smiling. As your dark words stain a bright morning. What do you guys want to do now?
Well, I think we have to get to that frog talker and then get to the sword wings as quickly as possible.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Master Fitzywell, will you be safe here?
He says, I'm going to go and check on my cousin. I fear for his safety. But I will try to convince him to hide better.
Suggestion, if you happen to come across any weird shaped glowing symbols on your journeys, don't touch them.
Okay.
It's a dwarven gate, and it's specifically designed um, to make you attack your cousin. So just don't.
Well, that's strange.
It's how they've been trying to find him. They've been seeding these geshes in various locations, trying to instill the urge to kill the great bard.
How is that possible? That doesn't even sound like those who dwell below.
When you arrive in the town, you should speak with the detective there. Tell her that the Wanderer sent you. We hired her to look into the matter
I see.
while we were away.
I'll do just that then. Detective, you say?
Yes.
Thank you very much for the information, and I feel that you, well, I'm just very proud of you.
I appreciate that, though I apologize that I ended up straying from the path that you had set me on initially. I wanted at first to use the ways of the four elements against my former master, but eventually I came to realize that I needed to forge my own way.
Indeed. Well, you have forged a path that might lead to saving us all.
Hope I can be of help.
Well, you broke me out of this trap. It's very strange to feel as though some of this was meant to happen, but I hope that means that we will all meet with success. All right. So, you guys finished breakfast. Kui is going to kind of dig around, come up with some supplies. He only has a couple of days travel ahead of him, and he'll reach civilized lands pretty quick.
Yeah, I'll give him a couple of rations.
He'll appreciate that. So mark those off.
Yep.
And he's going to kind of very formally clasp the hands of each one of you in turn, and bow before he takes off to the northwest.
When he goes to Vapos is definitely going to bow first and bow very low.
You are more likely to be the master than the student. Soon, Vapos. If you aren't already.
One day when this business is finished.
we'll meet up on that day and talk over some of the finer points of the improvement of the self and martial arts.
I look forward to it.
As do I. Farewell, everyone, and good hunting.
Farewell.
So what do you guys do then?
We'll start traveling pretty soon.
Okay. You pack your stuff up. You dust yourselves off. Bello, how are you doing?
Not great.
Okay.
Before she left for the evening, Mavra passed along to me that Mavra is going to be sticking extra close to Bella for the foreseeable future. So it's a
Okay.
source of support.
Okay.
I think Bella would appreciate that. She's kind of a mess. But she gets her stuff together and gets going in a very businesslike manner because she is like really motivated to figure out what's going on.
Right. So, with all that in mind, here we are at the map screen. After that big lore dump.
Okay, guys. In the past month, I've entirely forgotten which hex we're on.
Pretty sure it's 1713.
Yes, I agree with you on that. Yeah. So we need to find the frog talker, which is apparently close to here. We should be here. My bet it's either in 1813 or 1812. So let's go northeast into 1813. And then that way we can just go north if we don't find her in 13.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's good.
Alright, you guys begin traveling through the swamp. The Thurbu quagmire sucks at the soles of your boots and fills your face with insects as you travel through it. And as you are heading away from the enormous mandala-shaped ruins of the temple, go ahead and I assume someone is making a perception or survival as part of your travel. So I want to see how that goes.
Vapos can do a survival check.
Okay.
Or not.
Vapos is going to fail his survival check.
Vapos has not been doing well on travel or travel checks.
As you guys are traveling, Shadir is going to be flying around with Akiri, and but they're all going to be at least when Vapos is trying to keep a close eye on the wildlife and general survival techniques of travel through the quagmire, they're going to run into problems. There's going to be flocks of swamp birds that fly up shrieking and filling the air. There's going to be, you guys are going to run into some honest to goodness quicksand and have to go around it. It's treacherous terrain. So you are not going to succeed at that.
And Kiri would like to do a perception, like scouting ahead check.
Okay. Go for it.
1 second, sorry. My sheet got closed. We're doing great at this, guys.
A plus.
We're doing great at this, guys. Why do I even bother with ever rolling perception? Ever. I know I shouldn't. Every damn time I roll, I'm like, this is gonna be great! How badly are we gonna fail this
So
time?
actual 1.
Uh-huh!
So you are watching carefully for more of those large frogs that you saw in the swamp before. But with a total of 6, you are not going to see it until a giant tongue bursts from the foliage, sticks to you, and grabs you and pulls you into a giant frog's mouth.
She squeals.
Okay.
And I guess she done been bored.
Huh?
So I guess she done been bored.
Oh my god. I said never to mention that again.
You're the one who made the frog joke first.
Shit got crazy real fast, guys.
Yep.
We have bad luck with frogs, I feel like.
Bapos got helped by a frog one time. Cost us 1,000 shinies, but you know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Where's Shadir? There we go. So Shadir is gonna scream, "No!" Gonna freak out pretty reasonably. As you are pulled from his side.
That is a very giant frog.
So, because these guys are, in spite of their enormous size, extremely good at camouflaging and burying themselves in mud and hiding themselves in the woods, in the swamp, you didn't see them until they were upon you, and you didn't recognize the signs of them with your survival either. So, I'm going to ask you to please roll initiative. Select your token.
Well, Vapos may be bad at noticing things, but his reflexes are on point.
Gee whiz!
Unlike bro.
Yeah, I guess the Curious are too.
Okay. Ribbit. Maybe I should play this the swamp sound atmosphere. Where is that? Is that it? No, that's not it. That's right. Here. Yeah. Okay. So, there's a surprise round action here, which is that Akiri got snatched from the air and pulled down and bit. Sorry, Akiri. You will get a strength save to avoid this, or at least mitigate this.
Y'all ready to see something really funny?
Mm-hmm. Cool. The frog is going to chomp on you. This frog from hell.
Hell frog. Wait.
Huh?
Nothing. I'm very tired, so therefore very stupid. Ignore me.
Okay. So you're going to take 11. You're going to take 19 points of damage. As he goes, chomp! And then seems surprised to see you still struggling. But it's a frog surprise, in that its eyes are already bugged out. And Shadir is screaming, no! That brings us to Vapos' turn.
Yeah, Vapos is going to rush over to the frog. Yeah, he can get to about here. And he's going to, with his bonus action, he's going to activate his arms and Visage of the Elemental Self.
Okay.
And actually, now for the first time, because he's activating both of those and he's level 11 now, he's also activating Body of the Astral Self. And so now it's not just his arms and his head, it's actually his entire body is now encompassed as though he was fully a water elemental.
Cool.
And so
does he ignore difficult terrain? Because there's a lot of it on this map.
I don't ignore difficult terrain directly, but I do have the ability to walk across liquid surfaces.
Okay, so this is swampy, thick, viscous water, mud all over here. Just go ahead and make a dexterity. You didn't know that this was there. So there are these patches that aren't going to count as liquid surfaces because they're kind of like boggy plant matter.
Gotcha.
So you're going to be able to kind of use the surface tension of the water to run across it on the muddy parts.
Mm-hmm.
Even quicksand. But when it comes to these boggy plant matter patches, like places where layers of moss have formed through ancient trunks of trees but now look like the rest of it, you are going to it's going to be tricky for you. So you moved over 2 of them.
Okay.
Can you make 2 dexterity saving throws as you make that move, please?
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm not wild about a natural 1 in that circumstance. I think I'm going to use let's see. Yeah, I'm going to use Tranquility to re-roll that.
Okay. Spending some key.
Yep. So that's a 19. And then second one is a natural 1.
Fuck you. I guess.
Yep.
So that was a natural 1 followed by a 19 followed by a natural 1.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's stunning. Stunning.
That is an accurate assessment of what just happened.
Okay. So the one thing is you did pass one of them. So Vapos, you know that when you moved over this spot right here, that you almost fell into this hole that looks like solid ground. But you were going to fall up to your chest. And then, but you kind of grabbed the edge of that and somersaulted out of it, and then you just took a couple more steps, and then you fell in one here.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay, so that you still used up the amount of movement that you were intending to use.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm still going to activate those abilities as my bonus action.
Okay.
But do I need to do anything? Like, do I need to spend an action or anything to climb out?
Yes, it would be an action. I guess a monk might be able to do this as a bonus action, but you used your bonus action.
Yeah.
To climb out, to wriggle out of the hole. Yeah.
Okay. Then I will do that and end my turn.
Okay. To the chorus of thunderous ribbiting, Vapos gets there, and then Akiri, it's your turn. You are grappled by a giant sticky tongue and in this thing's mouth. It's horrible and painful and disgusting.
Just generally not a fun place to be. Okay, 1 second. You know what spell I haven't used it for fucking ever?
No.
Inflict wounds. Because she can't usually use it. I feel like this would be an opportune time to use this poor spell that's been forgotten in my spell list.
Wow.
So she's feeling particularly malignant today, so she's going to cast it at level 4 on this poor frog.
Okay. He makes a wisdom save?
No, I roll against him.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a melee spell attack.
Okay, he gets no save.
You just send it in and it's not rolling anything, the fucker. There we
Okay.
go. It was just super fucking slow.
You send this necrotic energy through this thing's face and half of it sloughs away. It's absolutely horrifying. How much damage was that?
33?
Right, 33 damage. Half of it sloughs away, and but it's so big that it still has enough tongue and mouth to hold you and bite you, but it's just like...
He's really hoping it lets her go.
I don't know what sound frogs make when they're in pain, but it makes that horrible croaking noise. I mean, it's dreadful to listen to as well. And this one's making an angry ribbit that shakes the very earth. Ribbit. Akiri, after that astonishingly powerful dark magic, what else are you doing?
I guess that'd be an action. She can't move anywhere. 'Cause tongue.
No, tongue.
So yeah, that's the end of her turn.
She just got pulled out of the sky. All right. Mavra.
Mavra is going to click her boots together. I'm honestly not sure what of this is difficult terrain and what isn't.
Very,
Probably
very
a
few
lot of it.
locations are not difficult terrain here.
So she's trying to get to the red frog.
Yeah. Oh, so over here you see this stuff that's not covered by water and isn't covered by
Yeah.
trees. That's not difficult terrain. You can run over
Okay.
this kind of stuff and this kind of stuff. But like over here where there's water, that's going to be difficult. Running through the trees and bushes is going to be difficult. So if it's clear and there's no water on it, then it is not difficult terrain. But she did see Vapos almost fall into one and then fall into a boggy hole. So there's these hidden boggy holes around the map as well.
So I think she's going to be double moving, and she's essentially going to go from here, around this way, and I think she can get to about here with her double movement and
Okay.
boots of speed.
That's even with all the difficult terrain.
I
Right,
believe
she going
so.
straight
So
through?
I'll
She's-
redo the map.
She's going straight through.
No, she's like making her way around.
All right, can you show me her path?
So here,
Okay.
that's 50. And then this seems clear. Are you seeing the arrow?
Yeah, I am. Got
Okay.
it. All right, so she splashes through and then runs through some solid ground, and then starts to splash in again. And then I need her to make a dexterity saving throw.
Alrighty. Oh, okay. 19.
She succeeds. So she almost trips through a hole right here. You see where I'm pinging?
Yes.
She almost falls in it, but she has pretty highly trained reflexes as well. And manages to keep her feet, stumble all the way to there, where she sees another frog. And this frog looks up at her and goes, ribbit, 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 ribbit. Ribbit, 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 ribbit. Anything else she wants to do?
Mavra does not speak frog, so no, that will end her turn.
Bella.
All right, Bella's going to move forward to her full movement, which I think is going to only get her there.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going to cast Hold Monster on this giant red frog.
Okay.
So he needs to make a Wisdom saving throw, DC 17.
He will fail.
All right, he is paralyzed.
The giant frog stiffens up like it's frozen in winter. Okay. Very nice. Are you in range for that?
It's 90 feet.
90-foot hold person? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm well within range.
Amazing. Okay. Is that the end of her turn, or do you have a bonus action or anything?
Yeah, that's the end of it.
Okay. Shadir is going to swoop forward and say, Sister! And he's going to magic blast the giant frog that has you. Alright, dealing 12 points. He said, how much should I freak out right now?
It's fine.
Okay. Breath, your turn.
Right, I saw where Vapos almost fell in, correct?
You did. Or, I mean, you might have, if you were watching carefully.
I probably would have. Let's see if I would have. If my dice decide to work.
It's a player thing. I pinged where they were.
Yeah.
I'm not counting your perception.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm basically following in Vapos's footsteps, but I can't move as quickly as him, so
Okay.
I'll probably end up about here with a double move.
Okay. Vapos, looking back over your shoulder, you see he's stopped just short of where you almost fell into the first hole.
And I am not going into a rage, and that will end my turn.
Okay. Ribbit. Akiri, this guy kind of seems like he wants to drop you from all of the pain you've caused him, but can't. And so you really have no... Just go ahead and make a strength check to resist it as he carries you away with a big hop. Hop. Oh, you got an 18? Nice.
That's a very fair assumption that you would fail that.
Yeah, I did assume it, but I see that I got a 4 and you got an 18.
Yay! Somehow.
Even with an overwhelmingly... Well, actually, I might still beat you. Hang on. the sheer size differential here is pretty intense. But you did pretty good. Akiri, we'll say that you grab onto a nearby tree branch. And the frog tries to pull you away. And you like his tongue like stretches out like a long rubber tube.
Ew.
And then stretches back as you like hang on for dear life. And he doesn't manage to jump away with you. So that's a fail. Actually, I moved him a little too close there. Did I? No, that's where he was. That's where he was. So he is going to fail to carry you off. The other one, Ribbit, attacks Mavra.
It's held.
The other one can't do anything. It tries to escape the hold with a wisdom save that fails. Vapos.
Yeah, Vapos is going to step a little bit further, or a little bit closer, and is going to start popping this frog in the nose, trying to get it to go away.
Yeah.
So, alright. And he's going to spend a decent amount of ki here.
You can see its face is just blasted by these large, black, jagged lines of necrotic energy.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to make 3 attacks against this guy. So, first attack is a 13 to hit.
That is a hit.
All right, that's going to be 18 force damage.
Oh man, there's this horrible squishy noise as your punch goes deeply into it and it drops Akiri.
Awesome.
Oh, thank goodness.
And then for good measure, that's going to be a 23 to hit for 7 force damage.
Your water fist, your water arm, buries itself like a spear into its brain, and the thing collapses.
Okay.
It's really gross, and you guys see the other one wet itself in fear. Were it not held, it would clearly be hopping away. Are you going to release the hold on it?
Yeah, I'll do that if I get the sense that it's going to run away.
Oh, it's obvious. Okay.
All right, I'll release the hold.
So you drop concentration on the spell, and it immediately turns to get around you guys and takes off. Not quite in the direction you were going. And it goes ribbit. And the smaller one down here goes ribbit, 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 ribbit. And it also takes off in that same direction. Which is to the north. More the north than the east. And you guys win.
All right.
Okay.
Kiri, are you all right?
No, not really. Ew.
Here, Akiri. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna try to cast Shape Water to get rid of some of the saliva that's on her. Just kind of direct it all to flow downward off of her.
That will help. Although it's kind of specifically designed to remain sticky even in water.
Okay.
So it's gonna take some serious cleaning to get that off of your curly feathers. But you will be able to heal yourselves and kind of finish your a little walk for the night. You will see, now that the sun has gone down here in the swamp, some lights kindling at what looks like some kind of fort rising up out of the swamp. Um, not only like a mile away, or maybe a couple of miles away. So, do you want to approach the fort for the night, or do you want to make camp just out in the swamp?
I'm not
mean,
making
it's-
that decision.
As much as I'm not a fan of swampy conditions, we don't know if that fort is friend or foe. It may be safer to
As a
rest
general
up before
rule,
approaching.
I would probably assume that a fortress built in the middle of a swamp probably doesn't belong to anyone who would be friendly towards us.
Especially if we're approaching at night.
Okay.
Indeed.
So you'll do your best to find a dry patch, but it's going to be a pretty friggin' miserable place to camp. And now you guys can travel at night. Do you want to push on, or in another direction, or do you just want to camp a few miles away from this fort in the swamp with the lights?
We should just camp.
You just camp where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Well, it's going to be pretty miserable to camp here in the Thurbu Quagmire. And you've been
Or
camping
we should
for
like
days on
camp,
end.
find somewhere a little bit nicer to camp, but like still keep our distance from the tower.
Okay, you'll do your best. You do have a pretty good survival check, but it's going to be cold comfort. Are you guys going to light a fire to try and mitigate some of that?
Probably shouldn't.
Okay.
I don't know. I think if we set up watches that we would be fine with a fire. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
if
up to you
nothing
guys.
else, we would get a pretty clear idea of how violent the residents of this fort are.
You're not wrong. I certainly wouldn't mind a fire. It's a bit cold and damp even for me here.
Okay.
Let's fire it up.
Okay. So, you guys set up your tents, your bedrolls, whatever you have in terms of oilskins to keep the damp out. And slightly mitigating the cold, miserable dampness, you light a little cheerful fire twinkling. It's going to draw a lot of bugs here in the swampy night. But it is going to make you guys be able to dry out a little bit, feel a little bit warmer, and it just adds to the general cheer. So, you would not have healed or anything, but you will be able to start healing your HPs as you watch in the night. Who is on first watch?
Vapus will take first watch.
Okay. Vapos, you look out into the. You're going to notice some of the lights moving along the distant fortress, occasionally winking out or being rekindled. Go ahead and make a perception roll.
Okay. That is 12.
Okay. There's almost too much noise here in the swamp to really get a good view of anything. At one point, you're pretty sure you spot a figure coming toward you from the trees. But when you get a little closer or activate your dark vision in order to check it out, you realize that it's just a largish lemur with a long, kind of a bushy for a lemur tail as it hangs from a branch. It looked like a man. And it's going to stare at you with these creepy night eyes and then scurry off. Who's on second watch?
I can take second watch.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception roll.
That's an 18.
Okay. Bella, you are keeping alert, and as your friends snore, you're going to hear this scrape and a rustle amongst the bushes. And do you have dark vision as a half elf?
Yes, I do.
You're going to see some scaly men with staring yellow eyes creeping through the bushes, arrows knocked to their bows, and grinning toothily at your camp, coming from the direction of the fort. And that's where we'll pick up next time, folks. Woo! Well played. That was fun.
It was.
Thank you to anyone who watches this later. You are awesome. We do have to call this. It's very late for some of the folks here. We will not be playing next week because there are or may be other obligations. But we are on a cliffhanger, so hopefully we can play the following week. It was a good time, guys. Always love playing D&D with you. Thanks for being awesome people. And yeah, until next time.
Yeah, that was a blast.
Cool. Big lore dump, so I'm sure there's a bit to process there too. Thank you to Jeremy, player of Breath. Thank you to M, player of Akiri. Thank you to Kirsten, player of Bella. Thank you to Corey, player of Vapos. Thank you to Daniel. Daniel. Sorry, that was the cold. Danielle, player of Mavra, who always has to leave early. We love you. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Don't get sick. Have fun playing D&D or other games. And good night. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.